Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for holding this hearing. It's on an important subject that could impact our economy to the tune of billions of dollars. And I just want to start, as every policymaker should, with trying to identify the problem, before we take a hammer to our regulatory regime and to our industries. What problem are we trying to solve? So I hear conflicting testimony on that. So maybe we'll start with you, Dr. Allen. What is the problem we're trying to solve? Or do we really have these laboratory testing facilities just running amok, hurting patients constantly? It's so bad that we have to make such a drastic change.
Yeah, I hope we're not in that scenario. I don't think running amok would be the proper characterization of that. But the definitive fact is, in most instances, we don't know. So the number one issue that I think we're trying to solve is awareness. The number two issue that we're trying to solve is the ability to act. If a problem is identified, is there an expert entity that has reviewed those challenges and helped mitigate them and fix them? And number three, I think, is try to avoid errors before they happen.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I didn't hear a glaring problem in any of that. I think there's room for a scalpel approach to some of these. Dr. Eisner, you've had a somewhat different opinion on this. Can you?
I do indeed have a different opinion on this, and I will cite for you this paper from JAMA Oncology, which showed that LDTs and FDA-approved assays had equivalent performance for tests that dictate cancer therapy for melanoma, colorectal cancer, and lung cancer. I think we have vastly lost sight of the fact that the magnitude of the problem is a very narrow, constrained concern. And frankly, as somebody who focuses on biology, I can say that when I see that there are areas that laboratories struggle to find the same answer, it's because we are not yet fully studied up. We don't understand the biology of what's happening. It's not because the test is wrong, it's because the biology is so complex we haven't gotten there yet. I think there is ample data from decades of proficiency testing data provided by my colleague's organization at the CAP that demonstrates that laboratories perform at an exceptionally high level. This idea that there is no post-market review, I think, does not account for the fact that there is proficiency testing, and laboratorians are incredibly committed to monitoring their assays longitudinally.
Yeah, and look, but not having dealt with this problem in depth before, like some of my colleagues have, and walking into this, it does not appear to me that there is a major problem that requires a very extreme solution. And if there was a major problem, it should be deliberated by a body like this one, where we do hearings and we have debates, and then it has to go through the Senate. God knows what happens in the Senate. and then actually signed into law by the president. We have a process for this. When we make national law, we have a very arduous process to do so because it affects so many people, and that's a good thing. What is not a good thing is when unaccountable bureaucrats just decide things and try to do it through regulation. This is happening way too often, and in this case, the FDA now believes that lab-developed tests should just go under the same pathway as medical devices. Why? I'm not sure what the explanation is for that, but it's obviously overreach. It's overreach with pretty severe consequences. Those consequences have been laid out by our witnesses multiple times. I think it's worth noting just some of them. The FDA shows that they'd have to approve between 40,000 and 160,000 diagnostic tests currently on the market, between nearly 4,000 and 15,000 new lab diagnostic tests per year. That's an enormous increase, and just having personal experience watching pretty simple medical devices try to go through that pathway, and it taking years because they don't even have the right personnel and the right expertise to even assess those medical devices. I can't imagine how they're going to assess complex lab tests, which involve, a number of people, a number of processes, a number of different chemical reactions. I mean, I can't imagine how they're going to do it. So I can't imagine how this stuff is going to actually get approved. And then we're left with nothing. We're left with no tests. I mean, we can question the validity of a test, but we can be sure that if you have no test, you're not going to get any result, good or bad. And that's a real problem. And we have to be careful about that. Just as legislators, as regulators, we can't have safety at any cost. You know, we have to understand that there are trade-offs in these things. It's worth mentioning the third-party review program, because that's part of the FDA's claim, is that, you know, they're gonna ease the burden of this excessive amount of new applications through the third-party review program, but that only reviews 3,000 applications or submissions a year. So just do the math. It's just never going to work. Ms. Rothstein, given the current program, is it realistic for FDA to estimate that at least? Wow, did I really go over that much? Jeez, I was really on a roll.
Gentleman's time has expired.
I yield.